Star Trek's alternate reality Mariner is a brilliant Picard TNG callback. Since Star Trek, Lower Decks first introduced Beckett Mariner, fans have loved her chaotic energy, rebellious streak, and sharp humor. She's a modern kind of Starfleet officer, confident in her abilities, unimpressed with authority, and unafraid to bend the rules when it means protecting her crewmates. But Lower Decks Season 4's Parth Ferengi's Heart Place and the alternate reality take on Mariner gave us something deeper, a glimpse at how her character mirrors one of Captain Jean-Luc Picard's most iconic Star Trek, The Next Generation storylines. The callback is subtle but brilliant, connecting Mariner's journey with Picard's and showing how Star Trek continues to weave old and new storytelling threads together. Alternate Mariner and the what-if question. In the episode, Mariner confronts an alternate version of herself from a different reality, one where her reckless, devil-may-care attitude has been toned down, replaced by a more polished, almost cynical version of Starfleet compliance. This Mariner isn't the rule breaker we know. Instead, she's the product of choices that avoided risk and conflict, leaving her more restrained, less adventurous, and frankly less alive. For fans of TNG, this immediately evokes the classic Season 6 episode Tapestry, where Picard is given the chance to relive the fateful moment in his youth when he was stabbed through the heart by a Nausicaan. Q shows him what life would have been if he had chosen a safer, more careful path. In that alternate timeline, Picard becomes a timid junior officer, stripped of ambition and inspiration, someone no one would ever follow into battle. The parallel is unmistakable. Just as Picard's alternate self revealed the danger of living too cautiously, alternate Mariner demonstrates the hollowness of a life without risk, rebellion, and the willingness to fight for what you believe in. Both stories ask the same timeless Star Trek question: who are we really without the scars we earn along the way? Why Tapestry resonates through Mariner. Tapestry is often ranked among the greatest TNG episodes because it explores character through the lens of alternate reality. The genius of that story was in showing that Picard's flaws, his arrogance, his impulsiveness, even the near-fatal fight, shaped him into the great captain he became. Without those mistakes, he would never have been the man to sit in the captain's chair. Mariner's arc in Lower Decks has quietly been doing the same thing. Her irreverence, her refusal to play the game of rank and ambition, and her willingness to challenge authority have often put her at odds with her mother, Captain Freeman, and with Starfleet in general. Yet those same qualities are what make her fiercely loyal, empathetic, and brave. By showing us alternate Mariner, Lower Decks plays the same trick TNG did. It forces us to confront the reality that without her rebellious side, Beckett wouldn't be Beckett. She might have been successful, in the traditional sense, climbing the ranks and following every protocol, but she would lack the spark that makes her such an unforgettable Starfleet officer. The inherited Star Trek tradition. One of the most powerful things about Star Trek as a franchise is the way it builds on its own legacy. Just as Picard's lessons shaped officers like Worf and Riker, the themes from TNG ripple into later shows, even animated comedies like Lower Decks. Mariner's callback to Picard and Tapestry isn't just coincidence, it's a deliberate inheritance of theme. Both characters embody Star Trek's insistence that mistakes, risks, and even failures are essential to growth. In a universe where technology can heal wounds and warp drive can bend time, the one thing that can't be shortcut is the personal journey of becoming who you're meant to be. By tying Mariner's alternate reality to Picard's own, Lower Decks slyly reminds us that the ideals of TNG are still alive in new Star Trek storytelling. Mariner may look nothing like Picard in personality, but in spirit, they're both Starfleet officers who understand that perfection is not the goal, authenticity is. The humor layer. Lower Decks' twist on the callback. Of course, Lower Decks doesn't just copy TNG's tone. The series thrives on humor, parody, and exaggerated personality clashes. Alternate Mariner isn't just bland, she's comically uptight. Where our Mariner is sarcastic and wild, her alternate counterpart is rigid, robotic, and almost unbearable in her seriousness. This exaggeration makes the callback even sharper. Where TNG played the what-if scenario with sober drama, Lower Decks uses comedy to underline the same truth. Viewers laugh at how boring alternate Mariner is, but the laughter carries the same point. life without risk and rebellion isn't really living. This comedic spin is what makes the callback brilliant rather than just repetitive. It acknowledges its TNG inspiration while keeping the spirit of Lower Decks intact, blending reverence with satire. Mariner and Picard, strange parallels. What's especially fascinating is how Mariner and Picard, on the surface so different, share surprising parallels when looked at through this lens. Rebellion versus order. Picard is the model of discipline, Mariner the picture of defiance. Yet both have moments where their true selves break out. Picard as a daring young officer, Mariner as someone who chooses loyalty over cynicism. The wound as a defining moment. For Picard, the artificial heart is the literal scar that reminds him of his youthful arrogance. For Mariner, her emotional wounds, the frustrations with her mother, Starfleet bureaucracy, and her own identity are what push her to rebel. Both sets of scars define them. Lessons through contrast. Both learn more about themselves when confronted with alternate versions. Picard sees his cautious self as pathetic. Mariner sees her alternate as lifeless. In both cases, contrast brings clarity. These parallels aren't accidental. They're the kind of intergenerational storytelling that gives Star Trek its weight. Star Trek's obsession with alternate realities. It's worth noting that alternate realities have always been one of Star Trek's favorite tools. From the Mirror Universe in TOS to DS9's dark reflection of the same, to Voyager's time-traveling Year of Hell, to Discovery's multiverse arcs, the franchise uses these what-if stories to push its characters to extremes. What makes Mariner's alternate reality stand out is that it's not about external threats, empires, or galactic stakes. It's personal. It's about the self. This places it firmly in the tradition of Tapestry rather than Mirror Universe storylines, making the callback to Picard even clearer. Why the callback matters to fans. Star Trek thrives on connections. Fans love Easter eggs, references, and familiar faces, but the deepest callbacks are the thematic ones, the ones that don't just name drop or cameo, but actually resurrect the heart of earlier stories. By echoing Picard's lesson in Tapestry through Mariner, Lower Decks creates a bridge between generations of Star Trek. It reassures longtime fans that the soul of the franchise, its exploration of humanity through science fiction allegory, is alive and well. At the same time, it offers newer viewers a lesson that doesn't require prior knowledge of TNG to resonate. Be yourself, flaws and all. Mariner's future, carrying the lesson forward. The beauty of this callback is that it isn't just a one-off gag or reference. It genuinely deepens Mariner's character arc. She has long wrestled with her place in Starfleet, unsure if she wants to commit fully to the organization or keep rebelling against it. Alternate Mariner clarifies what's at stake. Without her fire, her humor, and her resistance to the system, she risks